Hello, this is Yarrow, and welcome to my podcast. It is Thursday for me here in Vancouver. I hope your week is going well. I had a super busy day yesterday. It's the monthly call I do with my co-founder Claire for our agency, 50hours.com. We're going through a bit of a transition this year as we move our branding to focus on 50hours.com and less on inboxdone.com. It is an experiment, but I also think it's probably going to be a permanent one if it goes the direction I expect it to. There's many reasons for our decision to make this change. It's mostly about branding and positioning and having a message that can appeal to everything that we do and stand for. I'm not going to talk only about my company. I'd actually like to spend some time talking about some strategic decisions we've made for this year that I think you're probably going to have to make if you're not already making it yourself, which is all about this idea of having a brand presence across platforms, potentially with one central leading platform, but possibly needing to have many places, at least many channels, which can be, for example, a social platform, an email marketing platform, and then your website or whatever content you give people through those emails, through that social. That's a simple example. Some people take that further and they're multi-platform, they're sharing everything everywhere, which is easy enough to do, but the sharing part is easier. The content creation part is in your control. The actual growing of a channel is a challenge if you're going to do it organically, especially. There is a need to spend time on a platform, like whether it is Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, YouTube. YouTube maybe is one of the only ones where you can get away with just the quality of your content, potentially doing the heavy lifting. You don't need to be like algorithmically engaging with other people's content, but all those other social platforms, you pretty much have to in order to get some kind of result. So why am I saying all this? Well, a decision we're making and we're in the progress of executing is realizing that in a future, in a present that is full of AI content, very short attention spans, brand is going to be the defining factor for actually getting customers. In many ways, this is not new. People have been saying this since I was first studying business. I mean, I was learning about Coca-Cola and Nike and all these brands that were big, Apple. But that, to me, I always felt a distant concept because I wasn't building a multinational company. I wasn't like the CEO of something like that. I was growing a small business. So, a branding campaign like Coke does, millions of dollars to essentially run ads that just talk about the feeling you get from drinking sugar carbonated water, didn't connect with a business like mine, whatever I had at the time, which was like specific product or service to solve specific problem. Like a broad brand campaign was just out of my reach financially and didn't make sense. I should be doing direct response marketing, which is what I was learning about and studying and have pretty much done for most of my online career. I think now, though, today, brand is actually I say this as some of it's a personal feeling, but I think it's being echoed. I'm certainly hearing people like Alex Hormozy and Gary Vaynerchuk and other leaders in the marketing space starting to emphasize this more than ever before. And I feel there is a shift here. Branding, no matter what size business, is the only path forward simply because paid ads, the costs are going up, the results are going down. That's just because of, two factors. Trust. I mean, here's the problem. When there's an abundance of content and attention spans are smaller and shrinking every day, it's very hard to get someone to pay attention long enough to care. And it's very hard to break through the noise when there's just so much out there. So you might have a person see your content, but then they don't have the attention span to engage with it. So you've got this double whammy of just incredible volumes of content and a lack of attention to engage in any single piece of content. So that is a big challenge as a business owner to actually get a message across, get engagement, get a person to take a next step with whatever sales process you have. This is actually, incidentally, why I love the medium I'm using to create this, audio. It is one of the only formats I know of today where you have the potential to have a fairly long engagement. Like this audio, the people who listen to it will listen to it all the way to the end. It might be 10, 15 minutes long. And that, like, just a 10-minute engagement with a piece of my content is probably one of the longest engagements you will have. If you're watching shorts and reels and stories, that's a few seconds. If you're scrolling through a social feed, you might stop to read a couple of the posts, but you're engaging for like 30 seconds, a minute maximum. Articles, yeah, you might scan and read them, again, a few minutes at best. Even YouTube, which is got a lot of great long form content. I believe the average, I haven't checked the stats recently, but the average was something like 6 minutes of watch time for most videos. So there's not a lot of long-term engagement with any form of content. Podcasting is the only one where there is this 10-minute plus engagement. Even if it's just 10 minutes, that is huge. That is a long time in today's minimal attention span space. So anyway, obviously podcasting and audio should be a part of your brand building process. And I do want to push all my companies. That's why I'm doing this with my show and everything I talk about here. So, but the general idea is that if you have short attention spans and all this volume of content, what happens is people start to default to trusting only a few sources of a solution for whatever specific problems they have, and they ignore the rest. So you need to make sure that your solution, your business, or you as a creator, if you are a personal brand-based business, are in the conversation at the very least for solving that problem. Now, don't get me wrong, there will always be a few top of funnel customers that can find you in a quick Google search or a quick AI search, and they have a direct problem to solve. My toilet's leaking, I got to find a plumber. I go to Gemini or whatever and look for that, or Google, and yeah, instant problem, quickly find a solution. But for a lot of us who are selling items that are not, say, instant, urgent problems to solve, require more research. There's a plethora of options for people to choose from. My agency is a perfect example of this. There are many agencies providing executive assistance. Why choose us? Why even discover us in the first place? So we have to bring across messaging to reinforce why choose us, what problems we solve, what makes us different. And we have to keep doing that across time. We need time and multiple engagements, because if attention is short, we have to just keep going back and keep getting the attention and make sure we're in the conversation when it comes to the point to finally buy, and move them through a funnel, obviously, get them onto an email list, keep delivering more content. But that's just one channel. But ultimately, it's about having multiple channels, which allows you to have more of a brand presence. So what I see is critical. Even if you're doing, like, say, paid ads and that's still working for you, chances are you're getting fewer results for more money there. And that seems to be, that certainly was the case for us. Every person I've spoken to has run ads. It's either not working or performance is decreasing as well. Costs are going up. Now, that's not to say that people are stopping ads. They kind of keep thinking, well, I better find new media. That's the problem. If I throw more media at this, another hook will get their attention. That'll work. And sure, that might give you a temporary boost, but you've got the same problem over and over again. So I think the idea here with the brand play is it allows you to have a longer, more permanent presence in a marketplace, in a conversation, so that you do start to get more organic reach. And when I say organic reach, I don't simply mean, you rank well in Google or you rank well in AI search. I mean, when a conversation happens, whether it's in person, on a Reddit thread, someone's writing an article recommending services, talking about a story they had, experiencing a product or service, seeing someone speak on stage, meeting someone at an event. When someone says, hey, I need something for this, like in our case, I really need to get like an executive assistant. I got to stop doing all these admin and operation tasks. We want to make sure they think about 50hours.com as a solution, and it comes up in the conversation or it comes up in a thread online. That's on top of just the raw content we're producing and publishing, plus paid media and other forms of campaigns. And that creates that kind of broad brand presence so that you matter in the industry you're in. And I honestly think that's the only way you're going to have any kind of sustained success. If you don't have channels that keep getting the attention of people over and over again. And that doesn't have to be super complicated. That can be like a one core social channel combined with your own email list, and then whatever content assets you're releasing, lead magnets, your sales website, VSLs, those things. But if you have one channel that discovers new eyeballs, one channel that keeps going back to them and nurturing them, like an email list, and the assets that deliver the message, present the hook, explain how you solve the problems, talk about your differentiation. It could be a webinar, could be a PDF, could be all these things, should be all these things. So That to me is how you can have sustained success without the ups and downs of an ad campaign that doesn't work, or an algorithm change to a Google search that kills most of your traffic. This stuff happens, and that's what makes business so variable and so difficult. And with the current situation we're facing, AI is going to and has already created an environment where everything that's already tough about marketing is getting worse. It's going to get harder to make ads work because AI will just produce an incredible amount of ad copy. Now that sounds good. It sounds easier to run an ad when you know that the platform itself will just keep running campaigns for you. But you know what's going to happen there? They're just going to run more and more campaigns. Ad costs are going to go up and up and up because there's just more media to show. And if you want to make sure your media is shown, you know how it works with ad platforms. You pay more. It's a bidding war. If you're not willing to pay the price, you don't get the view to your media, no matter how great and how much variability you can do with your media. If you're going to target a more crowded attention span, an audience base, you will pay more money. And of course, with Google, same story. The rules change. AI content is flooding the internet. I do this right now. I go to Claude. I create a blog post in 5 minutes and I publish it. And it's a great blog post. Is it going to do anything for my company? We'll see. Is it valuable? It is, but can everyone else do it just as easily? Yes, they can. So how do you stand out? The only answer is some kind of brand presence. And that's the beautiful thing about focusing on brand presence over time. It makes your ads convert better because they're already aware of you and trust is already built. So the ad just becomes a trigger to return to you. It makes your search results better because you're getting incoming links, you're getting more press coverage, you're getting more interviews, things that help you just get more organic reach. You're getting more references, which helps you get more AI search results. People talk about you. It's just like a halo effect across all marketing channels when you have a strong brand presence. So much like we are doing for my agency 50 Hours, we are now heavily about to start investing in our brand presence and the quality of our brand presence, because we are a higher price service. So we're going to emphasize that with quality. Anything I do online, I know is going to require that level of brand and a strong conversion funnel. That's ultimately it. There has to be a process to reach people and then sell something. And that can't be just, hoping that one paid ad campaign on Meta is going to do it, or just getting a few good Google rankings is going to do it. It's a larger, broader picture. It's harder. It requires more effort, more content. You can't just go to an AI tool and hope the output is good enough, because it's difficult to produce quality. Even with AI, there is a level that AI just can't reach without a human being tweaking it, improving it, bringing it to it the information it needs, that copy, and so on. Anyway, that's all that to say. After a great meeting with my co-founder, we have clarity around that strategy. It's long-term. I can't think of anything better to go after. I still feel, as we all do when we're starting marketing, we're not sure if it's going to work. We have that hesitation about, is this the right way to spend our time and our money? But I just don't think of anything, especially as we head into the future, that has a chance. So if we want to stand out and succeed, this is the path forward. And I think that's the case no matter what project you're working on. And in many ways, no matter what business you have, we all have to do this. So you got to do the best you can with what you've got, with the resources you have, and build up and compound and grow this over time. Brand presence is key. Okay, I'll end it there. If you are looking to do content marketing, which is obviously how you have a strong brand presence, go get my lead magnet, insidegrowth.com/content. Grab my free document that goes through the AI content marketing tools I use and how I use them to have multiple pieces of content going out and, being everywhere and having my messages all over these platforms. And you'll be on my email list, so you'll obviously be in my world, and I'll be presenting my brand to you. And maybe you want to work with me as a coach at some point as well to help with your brand presence. insidegrowth.com/content. All right, thanks for listening. I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye-bye.